The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right. Good morning, traders. My name is not Vlad Karpel. Sneaking a little surprise substitute in. Good to see everybody. I can't even talk about it, but Bill had a good reaction. I like it. Good morning. Good morning, Faust. Good morning, Raymond. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Welcome to the Tradespoon live trading room. Stocks and options opening bell. Vlad shot me a text, asked if I could fill in. I said, hang out with my crew. Hell yes. Every time, twice on Sunday, coffee in hand. So here we are. Here we are. For those who don't know me, my name is Scott Beck. I am the head trading coach here at Tradespoon. I get to hang out with you guys a couple times a week, sometimes more when I'm lucky. Trading for a while, teaching for a while. That's my background and my history. Longer and longer every year. Oh, my son goes back to school this Friday. My daughter 2 weeks behind, and that's my first time as in like empty nester. I'm a little concerned I'm going to become emotional. Oh, Bob, I didn't even see your first one. Howdy, Bob. Here's what it is. I just didn't expect you to be on time. Apparently, you show up on time for Vlad and late for me, and that's a little bit hurting my feelings. See? I'm fragile. You know I can't handle those things. Here's the disclosures. Let's get started. Let's dive in. Having fun already, as it should be. I'm with you, Bill. Bad reputation is the only reputation I want. Yahoo Finance tells us that the market's not responding well to the downgrade. I didn't really look much into it. You know, they're like, well, you're going to be AA plus. I don't know. If you read into it and have an understanding and an opinion, put it in. Insecurity is the sign of a good trader. I like that. Keeps you honest, right? Keeps you honest. Yeah, the initial reaction wasn't as strong, and it's definitely accelerating. Here's what I'll say. I had already closed the majority of my trades, right? I'm bullish by posture, but by market posture, meaning my overall take on the market, but I'm a little more neutral and have been for a little bit, starting even last Friday, due to the fact of where we are in the cycle of the market. It was a little bit of a weaker cycle. Nothing yet that was disruptive and would cause my my current analysis on the market to change. Right now, if we have a sell-off and then it stabilizes, that's another higher low, and that fits into the narrative quite nicely and sets up a new window of trading. If this selling accelerates, picks up with volume, breaks a support level, that's disruptive, right? That's when I'm like, oh, okay, what else am I likely to see? If you watch the VIX, and I'm looking at every name in this room, and I'm pretty sure you do, it's kind of a weird, it's kind of weird right now, right? It's like this tight range, but it's low. It's 14, but it's this tight range. It's not really, giving us highs and lows that are meaningful as of now, almost like a basing pattern on the VIX. If you look, you haven't seen anything like that, at least in the last 6 months to a year. So yeah, there's this. We've also had a great 4-month, 5-month run. So is this when we tend to get poised for a possible correction? Let's just call it a correction. 10%. Very, very common in the context of bull markets. But 10% is enough that if you try to sit through it and hold trades, it's gonna be pretty nasty, and you're gonna have a drawdown much bigger than you want. So there comes a time when we're starting to think about, okay, we're seeing a little bit of not there's again there's nothing yet on my market posture that's I'm going to jump right to it. In addition to that, the cyclical, which has been super spot on, mind you, recently. This is where we tend to see consolidation / corrections. When we get a correction, 10%, it's never going to just like crash to it. I mean, I guess now I'm not going to say never. Rarely. It's likely to double or triple dip. I mean, you could see this as one, and then it kind of stabilizes, and then one more big one, and then all of a sudden what happens? Higher low. Higher low, and we're ready to catch a move, catch a move, catch a move, catch a move. Lots of trading windows, just like we just did here. Actually went all the way, right? Nice little run. So yeah, am I concerned for multiple reasons? But am I still going to put bullish trades on? Absolutely. Absolutely, I'm going to, right? Bloomberg guest says it's no big deal for the moment, maybe a problem 3 to 12 years from now. Downgrade more of an indication of our political dysfunction, Mario says. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, okay. Same rating as S&P now, Bob's reminding us. So yeah, that's the thought there. Okay, let me erase. Let's go back. So that's obviously the news of the day, and it's not news, right? It's news in that it's in the news, but it wasn't news we were expecting. Oftentimes, right now, we're reacting more to the economic news, which there's not much of. We've been talking about this. This is now 4 months in a row. They're like, oh, we're expecting 150. Oh, we got 300. It's like, this time we mean it. It's only going to be 175, and boom, 324. The job market. And what's the weird one is, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but the job openings, they said, was like the lowest in 2 years. We were at 9.62 last time. Was that the lowest? Because this is barely lower than that. I swear we were like 8.8 million the prior before. Yes, but it's still, what is it? 1.6. It's anything around 10 million is a good number. ADP useless was way off last month. Useless and way off the month before and the month before. Right? But it does continue to be positive surprises. From Barron's. Fitch's U.S. credit downgrade is a bad look. Why it's not a disaster? Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, right? I can't see it being more than that. So all we had was jobless claims today, but the news is still coming back favorable. The earnings are coming back mostly favorable, building some expectation. Really, it's next quarter. This quarter, we're still benefiting from everybody still spending money while prices were high. Companies were making money. Now we're starting to see a little bit less. The question is, how much less does that significant? Right now, we haven't had any disruption in the corporate outlook. Tomorrow, jobless claims. Again, there has been no concern there at any point this year for me. It's one I look at. I talk about it. I have a threshold. We've like dipped our toes past the threshold once or twice for 1 week, and then right back down 230. expecting a productivity report to be positive from negative, right? Expecting factory orders to jump. So the economic news is continuing to show positivity. Then we have the Department of Labor on Friday. They're only expecting 200. And last couple of months, they've underestimated and then had it better come back. Looking for unemployment to stay still at 3.6%. Let's take a look at the model. And you can see Stella has gone a little more neutral, slowed down a little bit, like me. We talk about it. Possibly a consolidation followed by a bullish kick. Agreed. Like I said, I'm a little more concerned, but right now I'm thinking that what we have going on is a consolidation until it shows otherwise, and I see something other than a consolidation. Because as of right now, what am I looking for? Higher lows. I'm bullish. Higher lows, looking for it to push up with the recognition that this time of year, we have a Starbucks trade on. So wait until 9:45 to make a move. What's the Starbucks? Is that earnings based? Let's pull it up. Hold on 1 second. I thought I had logged in already. I had. Let me get to some charts here. Starbucks. What's the trade on Starbucks? Earnings trade. They were expecting 95. There's the bell. They got $1. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, you're a 92 by 110. It opened down 83 cents. I mean, that's really in the perfect spot. Yeah, you could just sit on that and let the vol bleed off for a little bit. I'd wait. Yeah, I'd wait and let it all play out and for a minute. I mean, it's yeah. Does Vlad usually counsel 9:45 before closing? I'm not sure what his closing instructions are when he does those trades. DVN too. Good eyes. Okay. Yeah, he seems to be on a winning streak with those iron condors. Oh yeah. Okay. Caterpillar got him. Well, there's nothing you can do. Every now and again, you get got. Oh yeah, that was strong. We liked Deere and Caterpillar prior to earnings, but I don't tend to trade in front of earnings, which is interesting because I do like John Deere. Although today, a little iffy, of course. This was looking viable. Don't love to have this all the way pulled back, but that's looking viable. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Bullish on the S&P. Let's go to the Qs. Qs are likely to be a little bit more concerning. You can see still some prospects of negativity looming, Stella says, from the technology side of things. Large caps tend to hold up when the S&P does with the model, and that's indeed the case here. And lastly, we'll see how the small caps look. Okay. Yeah. A little bit sideways there. As we said, sideways is and consolidative, not unexpected, even without the news. Even without the news. And the question is, does it sell off a little harder than we've seen and then not? We've already had this last move here. We got a little signal and it didn't do as much. Now that it's consolidating, if we get a small bounce and then it turns, what's going to be happening? I'll tell you one thing that's going to be happening. The VIX is going to give me a higher low if that happens. Right? And so I should be able to catch both the first bigger dip, and if we get a double dip for a correction, the second one, I should have an opportunity to catch those things. I'm not nervous about it because so far I haven't seen that, but we'll look at the VIX here in just a second. Interesting little, I've been paying closer attention to this now. This is the Fed watch. I think we're done. The market thinks we're done. We're at 82.5% chance of no. We're only 7 weeks away already. 7 weeks. The Fed sees like, it looks like they've considered their job with interest rates done and see a lower chance of a recession. I was raised as a trader under the premise, don't fight the Fed. So the Fed seems to be bullish. The institutions seem to be bullish based on breadth, based on volatility. Therein lies my bullishness. Okay, let's go take a look at how things are opened up, and we'll look at the VIX, and we'll look at a watch list of candidates. Where are said candidates? You guys are irreverent today. People keep saying things that I can't repeat. They're funny, but only for me. Okay. I will identify the culprit. Bill was first, Mario second. All right. What's happening? Yeah, right. You can kind of see what I mean when I say we had this consolidation and it pushed. We had that weird bearish engulfing and it just kind of pushed. This was I agree with you. This was not much. So we didn't get one of these. We didn't get one of these. Look at this has been so nice, these windows that we've had. Right? We came out of this sideways. We got that higher low, and then we got four good windows in a row. The fifth window did okay. Took a couple losses, but took them early. 4 or 5 small gains, not much. Took some profits. Wasn't a great window, but it was a window, and that's the first sign of like. That's not like, oh shit, here's the sellers. It's like, oh, okay, the buyers are just a little out of steam. So we're a little riper now based on this setup that it's easier to see this thing come down. But remember, like, if this is the low that gets broken, I'm okay with that. That's not like, oh, that's a trend reversal. The big one is down here. We still have plenty of room for this thing to pull back and stabilize. But if I get a lower high as that happens, so if I get this higher low, I'm going to trade it. We'll go through. You'll see we have signals developing. But the concern is if we get another weak buying attempt, that's when we're really kind of set up. And I think, okay, closing bullish trades, putting on a hedge, and then thinking about, do we actually have a second one where we really get hit? And there's your correction there. 46 points from 460, 414. So I guess it actually would be, that's corrective zone down there, 10% down right there. So yeah, it could look, it's not a bear market, but it could certainly look bearish when a correction happens. And if we're able to clean things up and grab some puts here and then increase our positions here, we can make a little money on that bearishness and then think, all right, now what? Now we're ready to see if it stabilizes and recovers. And then the recovery, the first 2 moves out of the recovery are very lucrative. That's the institutions are kind of sitting on some money, and it's just like boom, boom, and then it just sort of eases into its next trend. So I want to make sure that if we do have a correction, I'm poised to capitalize coming out of it. What else? Okay. Let me erase my beautiful drawings. AMSC, Bill says, enough for a dog and a drink at Costco. I have to look at it now. AMSC. Oh yeah. Well, it's got earnings coming up. I mean, I think it went parabolic. Yeah, definitely went parabolic. I like it. I'll keep an eye on that. They had to have had some news. They've really accelerated. $4 stock, it's gone up 400%. Not bad. Let's look at the VIX. And there is step one. This is what I mean when I say we had a basing pattern here, right? We've seen this playbook before. Boom, it popped up. We said, okay. In fact, we saw this one and hedged it because we had a higher low. So there was a little bit of potential there. I ended up washing on my hedges, maybe even took a small loss, to be fair. If you took early profits, you maybe made some money on the hedge. But there was a warning sign to this little pop. Here we're not really getting one, but look, we're not even as high as we were. Maybe the shadow today touched the bodies there, and then we came right back down and fully recovered. We were a little concerned over here, didn't really have anything happen. That's what I mean when I say there was really no higher lows, lower highs. This matched this basing pattern, and then today we've broken. So we were in a consolidation, we've broken. That's not the signal. In fact, for me right now, I'm, like I said, mostly out of bullish trades. I don't have anything really to hedge. I took all my profits. I'm watching today like, okay, so what am I watching for now? Well, we've broken the consolidation. Are we going to go higher? It's possible. I actually don't expect that we'll get above 17. Interesting, right? That we're spiking to 16, 17. That's not very fearful. And then if it turns down, it's like, okay, now is where if we get a week where, like I showed you before, if the market makes a higher low and then turns up, and this starts to turn back down, but not very far. It tells us that the fear is building. So the lower high on the market is confirmed with a higher low here. And at that point, absolutely hedge. And if what I said happens, what is likely is we'd probably spike up here to 20. And then if we pull back, you'd get one more try. Now that's going to be more expensive, but cheaper than we've seen before all this came down. We've hedged back here. We hedged when it was in the 20s. Here you would still be hedging at 17, and that's where I would put a second position on. And if we do end up with a correction, that's when I think we'll end up really kind of popping back up into that space there. And then we'll have to wait for the recovery and then back into whatever comes next. Yeah, I some people will hear me do this and they're like, oh, so you're bearish. Nope, not even a little bit bearish right now. What I'm saying is I want to map out what if things started to get nasty, how's it going to look? What's it going to look like? So I can have a plan every step of the way. Okay. Let me I've got some comments coming in. I need to give myself a little more room to see them here. Since I live in Utah, do I know anything about Skinwalker Ranch and the cable series by the same name, which is about aliens? No, but my wife said something to me about aliens, and I'm super fascinated and interested. Okay. I'm gonna take a look, Kevin. Appreciate. I'll definitely take a look. They're hawking new innovation to their technology. Got it. AMSC. What percent of gaps get filled? Gaps are a funny thing. So gaps. There's 4 types of gaps. You have your breakaway gaps, which tend to be reversals, right? They reverse a trend. You have runaway gaps, which tend to happen in the middle of a trend. You have a little bit of a pause, consolidation, and then pop it, gaps, and starts running. Then you have exhaustion gaps. Those tend to happen at the end of a trend. Island reversals, you might hear them called. And if it's by itself, it's an abandoned baby. And lastly, you have common gaps. Now, if you were going to look at percent gaps, when do they fill? You would have to put a timeline on it, I think, because eventually, like a year later, it might fill for different reasons, right? Anyways, there you go. Do I follow? Do I follow HYG? What's that? High yield bonds and MMFI. Let's pull those up. Yeah. So right now, what are we doing? I'm preparing bullish signals. We'll look at those in a second. Here's HYG. And I'm evaluating this consolidation to see what do we think it's going to be. High yield bonds. I mean, you know what? I'm sure there could be some predictive factors to that if you correlated it to the market, and I don't see anything that I would. This thing's mostly been grinding sideways here. I don't see anything in here that indicated the market was moving more bullishly or not. I don't know. I mean, I'm not detracting from it. It's just not something that I've used as a general market indicator. The other one is MMFI. Is MMFI the indicator or the stock symbol? Let me know. Is that a technical indicator? Junk is it's a 50-day average indicator. MMFI is, what's it called? Is it just called MMFI? Clearly, I haven't studied new indicators in a long time. Let's take a look in here for a second. We have a minute. We have a minute. I'm gonna see. Is it in here? MMF? No. All right. Well, another day. Another day. We'll look into it. So clearly, my answer to the question, "Do I use it?" is no. Negative. Let's go take a look at our watch list. What is my watch list full of? It's full of technology companies like Apple, like Microsoft. I've got some AI technology companies, AI, DKNG, FLEX, Meta. No, Meta's more communication services. What else do I have? PLTR, been a good one. SMCI. I've got technology stocks. I've got communication services stocks because that sector's been strong. I've got consumer discretionary, not a lot. That's TradingView has it. Okay, I'll take a look. Not a lot, but that's been a leading one. Kind of got a little overblown in some regard. Lately, more industrials. Had some great trades on industrials. BLDR is one I've been trading quite a bit, looking at DE. And now financials. And financials is where there's some setups. But what we're noticing is the financial setups are getting steamrolled a little bit by the market. So we'll look at that, see what we think it means. Apple. So I traded Apple here. Got a little bit of a move and just it started to fall apart. Great. Small profit. No, Apple was not. Apple was when I closed earlier. Sorry. I closed Apple on the engulfing. Didn't have volume. This is one that I was like, should I have given it one more day because I do have a strong posture? In hindsight, of course I should have, but at the time I made the decision based on the engulfing and yeah, it didn't do much anyways. Would have been a small profit. That was a small loss. Got out fairly early. Aflac is new on my list as a financial insurer. Got earnings. The setup was there. It's just unfortunate that the earnings is what was the catalyst. AI. I feel like AI broke out. If it makes a higher low here on this consolidation, I would definitely think about it. AIG also got earnings. I mean, this one could be earnings giving you the signal. Apple, for example, do you use trailing stops or watch for the pattern? Both. Eventually, I'll use and not necessarily a hard stop, but my concept of my stop will move up with it. I will place it as a hard stop intraday at times. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, I will. That one with the engulfing pattern, that was me closing. It didn't trigger a stop, so it hadn't started moving yet. AMAT. We're friends again. It broke out. I'm willing to do business with AMAT again. I'm just waiting for this consolidation and ready to go again. Absolutely. Amazon. Amazon's a little more concerning. We had a lower low, lower high. We're selling a little as we come into earnings. I'm not going to do anything with that, especially before earnings, and I need to see what earnings give to see what's next. So, yeah, we'll watch and wait. Nothing there. No need. BLDR. So, I did close my BLDR yesterday. All right, got in back here. Here was about halfway up this day. Got in here, out here. Why did I get out there? Because it was earnings. Did it move higher today? Yes, but look, the volatility has dropped off. It's already come back down all the way back to below here, then back up. I have no interest in that. None at all. BX is new. It was looking pretty good, and as it started to try to create a signal here, it's really not following through. So I just added that one, and it's already kind of like a little disappointing. CPRT never gave the signal. This one's weird. It just keeps kind of like trying to figure it out. And at this point, I would now say this has entered consolidative mode, which means I draw my line. It has to break the line, come back down, higher low. I won't. This is no longer its own signal down here. That's too much. I need this now. I need it to come up and then come back down and give me that. That's the what I'm looking for. John Deere, it's there, right? I think that's an open door. DIA looks a little overextended. DraftKings tried to make a move, couldn't do it. Earnings coming up. Got to wait and see what happens next. Flex had their earnings. Beat up a little bit, but if it can hold up down here, if it doesn't break below 27 and then starts to turn, I think there's still an opportunity I'd be willing to consider. Gold. Haven't been trading for a while. Took a little stab at it. Didn't like it. IBM starting to consolidate. That's pulling back and hopefully lining up for a new trade now that all this new strength. But you can see the last time it made a big move up, It just sort of couldn't find its footing until down here. So we'll see if it does something like that or if it stabilizes IBN. That's still trying to figure it out. Maybe setting up ICE earnings. Disruptive. GE ebbs and flows on ours. Like I put it on and I'm like, oh, it looks pretty good. And then it disappoints me and I get impatient. I'm always a little impatient when it comes to conglomerates, and then I throw it off the lists. You good now? All right, let's take a look. Oh, you're not lying. Looks great now. Came out of earnings strong. See, I'll put it on my list, and then it'll do something like this where it just like meanders, and I'm just like, I get impatient. I don't know. This will be when I'll watch it right here. And I'm like, what the hell is it even doing? Then I'll stop watching it right here. And then like a few days later, it gives a trade. That's how my relationship with GE works. I'm usually more patient than that. It's just the conglomerates. GE's one. There's a couple others, I think. I'll add it to the list. Does look like it's ready to fire. Generous Electric. IWM, small caps actually are holding up. JP Morgan setting up. I like JP Morgan out of the financial sector. Meta setting up. So a lot of things are in their consolidations right now. That's what we're looking for, are those consolidations. Morgan Stanley. It's so weird how that moves. I like JP Morgan better, but I don't know. This is old resistance, new support. If it can hold up here, I would give it a shot. Half off at 95, see if it could get up to 98. Yeah, still in range. I don't want to see this go much lower. It's just too much. Halfway up this candle, you'll notice that's where we are approximately, a little below, but around that halfway mark. That's got to hold. If that doesn't hold, I'm going to lose interest and get impatient. Microsoft is another one that is in a consolidation for me. So the line's drawn. Nothing can happen here until it breaks out and gives me a higher low. That's it. Nothing else can happen. MTG looks pretty good. It's just got earnings soon. Or did we have earnings? Come on, show me earnings. Today after market. Not much you can do with that. Netflix is concerning, right? Netflix is concerning. Big sell-off coming out of earnings, even a little lower than back there. Then the buyers have come in. They got 2 days, and now they're pausing. It's starting to pinch. It looks like it could be rolling over. Yeah, it's a lower high. Kind of, you could look at this as a wobbly head and shoulders. This is the neckline. If we break the neckline, I think maybe back 350-ish. So it could get a little rough in there for Netflix. Netflix is a big piece of communication services. That could be rough for communication services. These are the things that would start to influence, right? Communication services is a sector that's been helping lead the market. If all of a sudden it starts falling off, I have to think, oh wow, that's concerning. Sell-off on Netflix was definitely on big volume. Absolutely, right? And it was not that their earnings missed. They actually exceeded expectations. They made quite a bit of money. What did they do? They downgraded. They said, yes, but. And all investors here is what comes after but. But things are slowing down going forward. Oh, well, that's not good. NVIDIA, that is one that I got in. Took a little ride, not much. Stalled, out. Glad I'm out. That's a lower high. My love affair for NVIDIA will shatter easily. This support level is pretty important. Old resistance, new support. If we break below that, then NVIDIA has gone consolidative, and I would have to wait for it to break higher low, right? It's definitely, you can see some of the concern that I'm talking about, where it's like, hey, this is a great stock, love it, it sure is, but that's a lower high. The buyers had a chance. The buyers had a chance and couldn't do it. Nothing. There's buyer fatigue. We don't see sellers. We see buyer fatigue. Pulte Homes setting up. That's another one. You can see there's a pretty broad list of setups. There's a few that are kind of showing some buyer fatigue. That's the market that we're in. This is one that I caught. Nice higher high, higher low setup. Nice catch. Yeah, not looking for much more. So actually scaled out a half yesterday, looking for the other half today. Let me see. Here's the Qs today. Yeah, we're down one and a third. So it's definitely accelerating into the day as of now. We'll stop and do a opening range analysis on the S&P when we get there in just a second. RCL, I'd be willing to trade RCL. Still looks uptrending, still higher high, still looking for a higher low. If I get it, I'll trade it. SMCI, it's a little overextended, not much we can do. Here's the SPY. So down about 0.78. This one's not accelerating, but it's also not doing anything else. Just kind of coiling here. We'll see which way we break out and which way we go. Let's get back out to 6-month daily. SYF. So it's funny because the second I put on some new financials, market goes into a bit of a deeper consolidation and the financials are not holding up as well. We'll see if they stabilize. All is not lost. All hope is not lost yet, but certainly already you can see some of these are showing some concern. Okay. Tesla, another one, right? It's like trying, it just can't. Buyers can't seem to move it. There's just little areas here and there. We're starting to see concern. UPS. I think UPS still looks okay, but same thing. It had a buy cycle. Didn't really get to new higher highs. Just kind of stalled out after a couple of days. Earnings are coming up, however. So we will see, what happens there. I think we need to get through earnings season. I think there's some trepidation around earnings. Look at this Upstart, man. This thing is just flying. Where are you, Upstart? It's hiding from me. And ta-da. Yeah. It really, you had like kind of a flag here, but unless you got in on the break of the flag, that would have been tough. I need a consolidation, but I've got earnings, so unlikely to get a trade on that. Visa, it's right. This is, how many of these have we seen now? How many of this pattern where we have clearly we're in the buying cycle, but that buying cycle is getting nowhere near. Shoulder, shoulder, head, shoulder, kind of a crooked neckline, but I mean, a lot of that yeah. Okay. Okay, the MMFI helps show reversals. It's around 79%. Yeah, I definitely have concerns. There's enough here developing. Like I said, just the fact that the VIX, and we're going to see that again here now. That little spike, that's enough, right? I would agree. Kevin said big earnings or big reports from two companies, Apple and Amazon. How the market responds. Yeah, I mean, look, the Apple's 11% of the NASDAQ. It's 7% of the S&P. Amazon not as big, but still big, and definitely market leaders in that regard. But yeah, if we we'll see how much more this might go, but on the pullback, that's where we're really going to see if there's a fundamental shift, and that's where I'm going to look to start trading it the other direction. I'm not going to trade bearishly when I'm postured at a 5.5. I'm fairly bullish, unless I get this type of a signal. What else do we have here? Wayfair, look, it's strong, right? But this 2 or 3 days, that's all it got. Didn't get one of these bigger cycles. Now it's consolidating. There's no time before earnings. We'll have to watch this and see. This is a consumer discretionary. Wells Fargo, again, right? It looked like it was going to stabilize. It was going to try to turn. Look how many times it pinched. It pinched. Just like it pinched here, it pinched here, and it pinched here. Every time it just couldn't, and now it's starting to fail again. So yeah, financials, if all of a sudden financials look like they're going to move into a leadership position and then fall out, we lose a little breadth. Our market, our sector rotation score diminishes a little. The VIX pops up, our VIX score diminishes a little. So now there is a disruptor. The VIX popping is going to cause my score to drop on the VIX. Not a lot. If that's all that happens, it'll drop a 1/4 point. If we break a support level, all these things that just sort of start developing, they start to, and all of a sudden, if my market posture drops a point, if it drops a 1/2 point, I'm like, if it drops a 1/4, point and a quarter, 1.5, then I'm going to be like, yeah, that's concerning. I'm going to be very cautious with anything new that's bullish. I'm going to be ready to hedge. I'm going to be ready to take evasive action for the next couple of months if that's what we're coming into. Let's look at the XLs. Energy continuing to show a little bit of strength. The financials, they're still holding up as a composite, but it's a long, slow consolidation. We'll see if the buyers can come back in. You can see industrials have really started to grunt. Look at the stochastics on this. Look at the volatility on this. Look at the price. It's just kind of trying to figure it out. It's like everyone's just kind of stalling before earnings to see what's going to motivate us. What's the catalyst? XLP. A little bit of a higher high, potential higher low situation going. I don't want to see increased strength into staples or utilities, right? And a little bit, we have that. Utilities is given quite a bit back, so a little less concerned there, but still generically a little concerned. And here's another new one, XP. XP looks good. Who gave me that? Someone gave me that one. It's pulling back. There's time still for another trade, but A lot of this where we have like this slow meandering downward selling cycle. Yeah, I do think you need to be patient in this market, but already my risk levels have come down. I mean, right now, if we get the start of a consolidation, great. I'm a spectator. Like I said, I took profit on the bullish trades or losses, as it were. I'm looking for signals. I had, I think, 10 stocks on my short list. 7 of them were financials. None of them have developed, and some of those signals are starting to fail. So, yeah, another one was John Deere, not working out. There's not a lot of setups right now. I'm not like, oh, let's go throw a bunch of bullish trades on. I'm thinking, okay, let's see what this consolidation looks like, and then go from there. GNRC. Let's take a look. GNRC. Ooh, got beat up. Beat up. Down 18%. Yeah, I mean, it's at this point, you got to give it some time to see how it stabilizes. All right. Well, listen, yes, Bob, PM, I'll be back. We'll hang out together for afternoon coffee. 3 p.m. Eastern time. We'll look at things and decide if we've changed our mind and how the day finishes, and we'll go from there. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. If you can't make it, a great few hours, and then I'll see you in a few. As always, happy trading.